Now we are on to section 3, question 28 to 40. The text is about the birdman. The birdman will people finally be able to fly long distances without a plane? John Endres investigates. People have dreamt of flying since written history began. In the 1400s, Leonardo da Vinci drew detailed plans for human flying machines. You might have thought the invention of mechanized flight would have put an end to such ideas. Far from it. For many enthusiasts, the ultimate flight fantasy is the jetpack, a small piece of equipment on your back which enable you to climb vertically into the air and fly forwards, backwards and turn. Eric Scott was a stuntman in Hollywood for about a decade and has strapped jetpacks on his back more than 600 times and propelled himself hundreds of meters into the air. Now he works for an energy drink company that pays him to travel around the world with his jetpack. As Scott says, I get to do when I love, and whenever I go, I advertise go fast drink. Existing packs work for little more than 30 seconds, but people are working on designs which let you fly around for 20 minutes. That would be amazing, says Scott. Paramotoring is another way of getting into the air. It combines the sort of parachute used in paragliding with a small engine and propeller and is now becoming popular. Chris Clark has been flying a paramotor for 5 years. Getting about is roughly comparable with driving a petrol-powered car in terms of expense. The trouble is that paramotoring is ill-suited to commuting because of the impossibility of taking off in strong winds, say Clark. Another key paramotorist recently explained, a close call when in the air. I started to get a warm feeling in my back, say Patrick Vanden Bulke. I thought I was just sweating, but then I started to feel burning and I realized I had to get to the ground fast. After an inspection of the engine later, I noticed that the exhaust pipe had moved during the flight and the harness had started melting. This hasn't put Mr. Van off. However, he is enthusiastic about persuading others to take up paramotoring. However, he warns, although it seems cheaper to try to teach yourself, you will regret it later as you won't have a good technique. A training course will cost over $1,000, while the equipment costs a few £1,000s. You may pick up cheaper equipment second hand, however. There was one pre-used kit advertised on a website with a bit of damage on the cage and tips of the propellers due to rough landing. Scared myself to death, the seller reported. Hence the reason for this say. Fun though it is, paramotoring is not in the same league as the acrobatics demonstrated by Wes Rossi. He has always enjoyed being a daredevil showman. He once parachuted from a plane above Lake Geneva and intentionally skimming the top of a fountain as he landed. He descended to take to the lake where he grabbed some water ski equipment and started water skiing while the crowd watched open-mouthed. Rossi, who has been labeled the Birdman, was born in 1959 in Switzerland. After flying planes for the Air Force from age 20 to 28, he went on to a job as a pilot with a commercial airline from 1988 to 2000. The cockpit of a plane is the most beautiful office in the world, he says, but I didn't have any contact with the air around me. It was a bit like being in a box or a submarine underwater. From then on, he therefore concentrated on becoming the first jet-powered flying man. In mid-2000, he stepped out of an aircraft at about 3,000 meters. Within seconds, he was soaring and diving at over 290 kph (kilometer per hour), at one point reaching 300 km per hour, about 104 kph faster than the typical falling skydiver. His speed was monitored by a plane flying alongside. Rossi started his flight with a free fall. Then he powered 4 jet turbines to keep him in the air before releasing a parachute, which enabled him to float to the ground. The jet turbines were attached to a special wings which he can unfold. The wings were manufactured by a German firm called JCT Composites. Initially, he had approached a company called Jet Kit, which specialized in miniature planes, but the wings they made for him weren't rigid enough to support the weight of the engine. Rossi says he has become the first person to maintain the stable horizontal flight thanks to aerodynamic carbon foldable wings. Without these special wings, it is doubtful he would have managed to do this. Rossi's ambition includes flying down the Grand Canyon. To do this, he will have to fit his wings with bigger, more powerful jets. The engine he currently uses already provides enough thrust to allow him to climb through the air, but then he needs the power to stay there. In terms of physical strength involved, Rossi insists it's no more difficult than riding a motorbike. But even the slightest change in position can cause problem. I have to focus hard on relaxing in the air, because if you put tension in your body, you start to swing round. If he makes it, other flyers will want to know whether they too will someday be able to soar. The answer is yes, possibly, but it is unlikely to be more than an expensive hobby. Now let us answer these questions we just saw, and these questions will be answered on the basis of what we learned. So 28. What information is given about Van den Bulk in paragraph 3? A. He narrowly avoided a dangerous situation. This is what is being said. So A is true, 28. Then 29. When the writer refers to some second-hand paramotoring equipment which was for sale, he is emphasizing that paramotoring can be a dangerous pastime. D is true. 30. The description of what happened at Lake Geneva is given to suggest that Rossi, the answer is B, likes to do what appears impossible. Then complete the summary below. One word or number. 31 to 35. Wes Rossi. Wes Rossi was born in 1959. He worked as both a military and, here we can write, commercial pilot, 1988 to 2000. Before focusing on his ambition of becoming a jet-powered flying man. First, he asked a firm which made miniature planes, miniature planes, to construct some wings for him, but these proved unsuitable. The second company he approached was able to help him. However, on a flight in May 2008, he managed to achieve a top speed of 300 kph, kilometer per hour, easily, exceeding the speed achieved by the average skydiver. Okay, SD. He had engines to keep him in the air and then used a parachute when it was time to come down. Then 36 to 40. These are the people we are talking about, and these are the sentences that are relating to these people. So 36 is he acknowledges the role of his equipment in enabling him to set a flying record. 36. This is D. Wes Rossi. Then the 36 is this. 37 is he explains how he uses his flying expertise to promote a product. 37. This is A. It is Scott, paid by the company. 38. He explains what led him to experiment with different ways of flying. 38. That is again D. This is again D. Wes Rossi. D. Then 39. He describes the mistakes some beginners might make. 39. This is C. Patrick Van den Bulk. So this is C. And 40 is, he mentions circumstances which prevent you from leaving the ground. That is 40, which is your Chris Clark, right? So this was the section 3, General Training Test B, IELTS Student 9 book. Thank you so much.